Hi, this is Mike of sourdoughhome.com and bakewithmike.com. We're doing the 2.5-day Professor Calvel starter process. And it's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd rather be in bed, but that's life. We make sacrifices for our art, our craft. Let's see how the starter looks. Okay, this is up at about 5.5 to 6 cups, so it's up a good bit. Was around 3 to 4. The surface is nice and puffy and domed, and we're ready. Your starter may smell or look different. It's going to do what it's going to do. It should be similar to this. By this point, it should definitely be puffy. Okay, let's move this over, and this over. Spatula probably would have been better for this. As with so many things, by the time you learn to do it right, you're done doing it. Okay, now it's out of the mixing bowl. I'm going to clean the mixing bowl, and now we're back. The bowl is clean. I probably don't need to clean it every time, but it looks better when you do. So now we're going to do what we've done the past few times. I'm sure you can recite this along with me. I'm going to measure 300 grams of this starter back in here, and then add 180 grams of water and 1 gram of salt. We took a sniff of this as we were cleaning the bowl, and it is decidedly funky this morning. It has some barnyard odors. And they will be going away as the bacteria we want take over and kill off the bacteria we don't want. That's why I mentioned earlier that this is like a biology experiment that hasn't completed yet. It will complete, and it will smell better. And the essential ingredient in sourdough is patience. I sometimes say the essential ingredient in baking is patience, and the essential ingredient in sourdough baking is more patience. Okay, 300 grams. And this time I managed to not make quite so much mess. I'm about to hand this off to my cinematographer wife and long-suffering wife who got up with me at this unreasonable hour. Between retirement and COVID, we normally do not get up this early. We mercifully do not have COVID, but we're still sheltering in place. Okay, so 180 grams of water. And actually doesn't need to be on the scales. We've already measured that out. I don't like performing actions on top of scales. The sensors are fairly sensitive, so I'll pull the bowl off the scales and then mix this up. All the ingredients are pre-measured, so I don't need to do this on the scales, and I'm not going to. Again, as I stir it, it gets nice and foamy. I suspect that's the air that was trapped inside the starter being released. It's mixing in much better than it did at midnight. On the midnight at 6 a.m. thing, I suspect if we'd done it at 11 p.m. and 7 a.m., it wouldn't have been a problem, and we would have gotten considerably more sleep. So here's our salt. And the flour. Professor Calvel didn't talk much about why there is salt in the starter. Normally we don't put salt in the starter. He indicated it regulated the speed of the biological action. So now we'll stir this together. At this point, we're into 6-hour cycles. So the next cycle is going to be at noon. And it is mixing much more easily, enough more easily that I'm not going to dump it out to knead it. It's brewing quite nicely. So we're ready to cover it. Put it back in the proofer for 6 hours, and then we'll see where we are. I'm mashing this down a little bit. So we can raise it up, see how far up it is. And between 3 and 4 cups. So, off it goes into the proofer until noon. See you then.